Hello. Mic checky 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 check. Wait, does this one work? Yeah. Everybody give some hype in the chat. I need to turn my volume down. Smash those like buttons. Oh, I need to turn my light on. Where's my light? We've got 10 seconds left. Can everybody hear me? I hope so. There we are. Ooh, I've just got out the pool. My hair's very wet. Yeah, looking good. All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome. How is everybody doing? I've got the chat open here. I can see what's going on. Yeah, I think everything seems to be working. Looking brown as a brown thing. I've been catching the sun. I'm like, my arms, they don't really look too brown here, but yeah, getting a bit of a tan. And I'm gonna have a lot of this. Cake is in the house. All right, who do we have here? We have Cons, welcome. Jambi, welcome. Arati, let's go. Alex Gordon, welcome. Odin, yo. Hello, everybody else. Mikester, I'm doing very well. Alex Gordon, BTC champ. Odin again, yes. Kickzilla, what's up? I can't do that. What's up? And Delirium, all good. Cool. What up, Heisenberg? Okay. It seems like we are good to go. I'll keep the chat open as I always do. And we will begin. So yeah, I'm in another new place today. So I've managed to get the streaming setup done again. I think I was thinking maybe I'll do it tomorrow, but I found a really cool place today, right on the beach that has like solid Wi-Fi. It's really, really good. So it would be like an iPad stream, and I've never tried an iPad stream before, seeing if I can really do charting and other stuff as well. But I think that could be quite fun to do. But yeah, I have a nice little setup here, a nice work setup. So beginning the day at, what time is it here? 9 p.m. Although I did do some work this morning. So yeah, it's all good. And yeah, came back, had a nice dip in the pool. So I am a little bit soggy, still a little bit damp, but but we're good. How's everybody else's day been? Did we have a productive session this morning? Has everybody been trading well? What's everyone's thoughts on the market? Let me know in the chat, as always. And yeah, I'll have a look at the chart and give you my thoughts, as I always do. So I guess we'll just start off with Bitcoin. There's not really anything going on, is there? It's a little bit like flat. So what do we have to talk about? We're just stuck at weekly open. Had an awesome morning trading session, didn't we? Cool. Glad to hear it. Few worldy trades, yes. All right, I want to take a look at the NQ because that seems as if it's probably the big one right now. Did it do the same as yesterday? More or less, right? You had London Open, you had a move up, took out previous day highs. Ooh, took out previous day highs, dump, filled in all the imbalance, bounce, and what's it done again? Filled in all the imbalance above. That is like a perfect little trading session right there. So check this out. I mean, just from looking at it really quickly, I haven't looked at the charts so far today, but shut up about my red face. It's not that red, is it? I'm not burnt, but it is warm. So yeah, here was your Monday high during Asia session. You get a nice candle, high volume, came and took that out. I always prefer on the NQ to go bars. Nice opening candle. This is 5-minute chart. You then inverted that here, dropped down a little bit more, retraced, golden pocket, OB, move down, retrace, golden pocket, OB, drop, straight down, into gap, and to the tick. Look at that, to the tick on the 5-minute chart. And then getting a real decent bounce off of that. Wow. I'm a little bit sad I missed this. So I guess right now is looking like a relatively decent short. Potentially. on the NQ. I'm going to stick with this for a moment. And we're just going to get straight into things. So you have this gap here. Let's come back up into this. We have high to low session, 618, 702. This is tempting. A little short position could be quite tempting here. Is there any good opportunity to get into it? I mean, right now it's looking like a good opportunity. Literally right now. The problem with this is because everything from below has been cleaned. So we could go higher up into towards this 786, maybe take out these highs from earlier. This is all London session. Just maybe close my long. Yeah, I mean, it's... Caught this perfect. Oh, this perfectly. The higher low on the 32nd. It's also 15 minutes stable. Is it really? Is it New York? Oh my God. Is it? I made a mistake yesterday, right? So I was thinking this yesterday. I was like, I completely miscalculated it because I did this poll thinking, I'll do the New York session. And then I completely miscalculated it because obviously so where I am right now is 12 hours ahead of New York. And, but I kind of forgot that New York session opens at like 8:30 a.m. there. And I'm just used to the 2:30 p.m. thing for London. So I was thinking, 12 hours ahead of 2:30 because that's New York session. But obviously that's completely wrong. So yeah, I can do New York open streams. They're really easy to do. It's not going to be 2 a.m. in the morning. The 2 a.m. in the morning thing was because it was FOMC and that happened towards the end of the session. So, yeah. So 12 hours, we're 12 hours, no, we're not 12 hours versus UK. We're 12 hours ahead of the US, 7 hours ahead of the UK, 6 hours ahead of most of the rest of Europe. Cool. So yeah, we're going to be able to look at the New York Open here, which could be quite interesting. So we're going to have session highs, session lows. I'm just going to mark these off. I would be interested to take a trade today. The difficulty that I'm seeing here where could we target below? I'll get to Bitcoin in a moment. See, that 4-hour gap was hit, bounced. That's old. There's all of this down here, but that's a hell of a long way away. You're looking all the way back down to like 19,400. So 4 hours pretty clean. 4 hours still suggesting higher. And because we're still looking at highs to be taken on BTC, we're essentially looking at around here, right? 20,251 on the NQ. One would expect that to get hit. And then above there we have this gap. So realistically, from the higher timeframes, we're only really looking at here and here, which is very similar to what's going on with Bitcoin, by the way. So with BTC, we'll go over onto the daily, and we have a similar situation, right? We've got liquidity up here. So we're looking at these highs at 65,050, which is where the initial take profit for my long. Now I'm long from down here. I'm long from 54,400. So I'm in a long position from 54,400 and looking to basically get my first take profit at 65,050. and then maybe seeing if we can come up to that yearly POC. But that is another thing that I need to say, is that the yearly POC has shifted. So if we take a look at the fixed range tool and we draw that all the way back from over here, we can see our point of control is currently exactly where price is. Now this moved over the weekend. So our yearly POC has shifted, and when it shifts, you tend to see price repel away from it. So we're either looking for a move up to where the previous point of control was, which is up here at 65,500, or we're essentially looking at a move down towards 57K. Now that would tie in really quite nicely. Either we see a move up that comes up to that 20,500 on the NQ into this daily gap, or we're looking for a drop that takes us back down to around about 19,250. So the two markets are quite well correlated right now. So what I need to do on this, our value area has shifted slightly. All right, it's tightening. So value area low has moved a little bit, and our POC has shifted. So developing POC, we can see that that moved down on Saturday, and we're just hanging around that point of control right now. So it's one of those that's a little bit of a no trade zone, and we've just got to wait to see if price can indeed come up and take those highs, or if we are to see weakness from somewhere. And weakness for me would be coming back down below 61K. Basically the gap that we've already inverted, essentially, losing that once again, using this as local resistance, local high, aim for shorts, back down towards the value area low, where we do have a naked point of control down there. So that is something we're really looking at quite a lot. Shorty, want to join the mentorship, but know nothing about ICT. Do I think I need to study the basics before joining? No, you don't need to know anything. So yeah, first of all, as Cake, so this is a question for Cake, but I'll answer it anyway as I'm on the stream. So basically, within the crew, we are now offering a crash course, a very focused mentorship run by the legend that is Cakezilla, who has been doing live trading fantastically over the past few months, really. Just been absolutely smashing it within the crew. And it's a crash course into trading legacy markets using the prop firms. And I would say there's no need to know any of the concepts already, because it is essentially the same thing that we all trade. What I tend to call everything, it's all the same concepts, all right? ICT is bullshit, all right? There is no such thing. It's just rehashed stuff, and he's created a cult around it. But we trade liquidity, we trade balance and imbalance, and that's essentially all it is. So when you have the gaps in the chart, you create the imbalance, whether you want to call it an imbalance, whether you want to call it single prints, whether you want to call it a fair value gap, so on and so forth. Draws on liquidity, swing failure patterns, all of these kind of things. Deviations, essentially all the same thing. So if you have any kind of understanding, it's just a little bit of a different terminology in some respects, but absolutely I would say nobody needs to know any of that stuff in order to be successful, because it is what we have all been trading, or what we all should be trading overall in general. There's divergences, so you'll be talking about divergences over there, divergences between the NQ and the ES, which act as a little bit of like a CVD divergence, whether you're seeing like how we would trade the difference between spot and the difference between perps. There's divergences that you get over there between the ES and the NQ, and you're looking at support, resistance, premium, discount, which is essentially Fibonacci levels. All right, you look for longs when things have retraced more than 50%. You're looking for shorts when things have gone up more than 50%, and that's essentially the that is kind of everything. But it's just put together in a really, really nice way. So what Cake's got is just very, very mechanical style of trading, whereas for me, I'm a little bit more of a confluence-based trader for Cake. It's a lot more mechanical, certain rules that must be followed in order to take a trade. And yeah, you just learn to just repeat, and it's awesome. So I would definitely recommend anybody who is here to check out that stuff. And also, if you're not already part of the crew, come and join us, torrescrypto.com. And yeah, we do, like I say, we do live trading, market analysis every day. Yesterday, Delirium did an awesome call that was going over everything you could possibly need to know about Bitcoin, from all the way from the higher time frames, talking about the cycle theory, talking about the timing that we can expect potentially a market top to be put in, and even predicting the next bottom and the prices of that, going all the way down onto the lower time frames where we have been able to find some confluence, like I say, around about that 57k, and then looking up towards that yearly POC, well, the old yearly POC, they're at 67,500. So yeah, check that out. I am going to, what am I going to do? How am I going to adjust this? I will leave these levels on the chart, but we need to be aware that the POC has shifted. So I'm going to delete this for now. Be aware the POC has shifted, but it is essentially a weekly open. We don't really need to be marking it on our chart, all right, because we're right there. And where the market also is right now is if we're looking at the beginning of the range, okay, we're being held right below the anchored VWAP from the start of the range. So we are slap bang in the middle of things as we speak. Is there anything else we can be looking at? What if we draw a fib channel here? That 0.5 is a little bit below, but you get some little targets that we can start to look at. Maybe we want to draw this slightly more horizontally. And look at that, surprise, surprise. We're kind of right in the middle of things. So yeah, the market's just trapped. It's waiting for direction. It's waiting for some kind of catalyst. But I'm feeling fairly bullish at the moment. I do believe that a squeeze to the upside is probably the more likely scenario right now. I think the Nasdaq's looking strong. I think the S&P 500 is looking strong. If we go and take a look at the SPX, we are just consolidating above those all-time highs. Yeah, there has not been any kind of significant rejection after breaking all-time highs. All right, that is where the S&P 500 is. That's where the SPX is. The ES, that's where it is. It is consolidating above those all-time highs. No rejection so far. And that would essentially mean we are looking at this being pretty good momentum to see if the market can go a little bit higher. But that being said, that it doesn't mean that this can't drop down. There are some big levels below us. And it's the same if we look on the S&P, if we look on the ES, for example, we have imbalance, okay? Now the index is a little bit different here. So this is essentially spot, all right, where we've broken above all-time high, we've back tested, we've had an open close above, and we're holding. On the ES, because there's slight adjustments being made here, all right, depending on which contract it is you're trading, then you could be looking at this as being unable to break. But if we're looking on the macro, I think it's important to be aware of what the mark price is and what the underlying asset is doing, and the underlying asset is holding above all-time high right now. In the same way as like Bitcoin has been doing this consolidation essentially above its all-time high. So it is an interesting time. I think it leads into the theory that we've had for the whole year, basically, that we're going to see Q4 looking pretty good, and we're going to see a momentum increase as we go into Q4, as we end September and move into October. October is, always has been, a pretty bullish month. It was incredibly bullish last year, exactly 1 year ago. Well, when we get to October. It was last October that kicked off this cycle. We continued that all the way up until March, April. And I think the market is looking really quite healthy for another move from October onwards once again. Now, the only thing that can start to make that a little bit less likely is if we do see some data that really does start to look worrying coming out of not only the US markets, but also the Japanese markets. So the Japanese market, remember, there is that $4 billion carry trade, the world's biggest holder of US debt. They are going through some big changes. They have, I believe this was announced last week. I do need to double check it again. But I believe they, what am I trying to say? They did revert the hike that they had made previously, which has settled the market down somewhat. So yes, we shall see. October conflicts with your contrarian mindset. I'm only contrarian, right? I'm only contrarian when I see people that are talking about recession every fucking day, because I'm bored of it. How long have we been talking about there being a recession every day? So that's where I'm contrarian. When it comes to the 4-year cycle, there's absolutely nothing to suggest that it's not going to happen again, because we have history of that, and I think everything's looking like it could repeat itself. So far, it has been following quite well. So I'm contrarian and something or other. Or maybe I'm just bullish all the time, which is maybe, I don't know, just bullish, yeah? We shall see. I'd like to look at some altcoins as well. So anything else that we can have a look at? I don't think Bitcoin's really doing anything interesting here, is it? Just chilling, weekly open. All right, is there anything we can watch? I did this update for the crew earlier, and essentially, like, I would consider this a very risky long, yeah? But we do still have a target up at that previous point of control. We have had open and close above this gap, showing that there is support here. There is support within this gap. And the invalidation of this idea would essentially be, if we see weakness, we get acceptance back in there, and we start looking at lower prices. Now, unless that happens, you still have to be looking for longs at this stage. And what that would give us is basically our first internal higher low, higher high. So we've had this trend that's been going on since as long as many of us can even remember, for the last year or so, where we've had highs, lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, lower lows, lower highs, higher low, higher high. But the important one, this is your last external lower high. Because if we take out this high over here, this high over here did not take the low. It could still take the low. It could still be printed as a lower high with just a very, very, very large retrace back in, putting in this double top, and then we see that the market tumbles, and we do make another lower low here. But I don't think that's particularly likely. We are looking at this now as having had this clear trend, and now we're looking at internal structure. So it would make sense to me, the fact that we have put in this internal higher low, to come in and make an internal higher high. And then when we start to get really bullish is when we start getting back above that 69k level. And then we're looking at new all-time highs. So it's an interesting time. There is a potential long that you could be taking from this support anytime that it dips into this 62,800 area. Good opportunity for long invalidation if you get closes below 61.2, targeting 67.5. And like I say, I am in a long that is looking a little something like this, 54.4. My invalidation's down here. I do not believe we're going to take those lows again. And I am looking for 64.5. And as I've mentioned previously, I have not actually yet taken profit. So if we do get closes below, what I would do here is I would reduce risk and then maybe look to reduce the risk here, potentially compound around that value area low where we do have an MPOC. I'll show the MPOC in just a moment. And then that would give us, once again, a pretty deep retrace where we could be targeting fresh longs to go up towards that previous POC. So if we go from here to here, you've got nice confluence down there. It is our yearly value area low. If we add on our session volume profile, if it's going to load, we do have the MPOCs. Yep. That takes us back down here. So there is confluence. Those are levels that we can be looking at. But I still think we can go higher. So no 42K. I think it's highly unlikely. I mean, nothing's out of the question. You'd have to say if 57K does not hold, then yeah, we could be looking at 42. But I just do not see a scenario where that is like probable enough to really take seriously at this stage. If we do start to like dump, first of all, there'll be opportunities to get short, right? You're going to be able to get short around about that 61.2. Okay, if we see weakness, there's opportunity to get short. And then you could ride that all the way down to 42. Yeah, absolutely. I just don't think it's going to happen. We're so close to the election. There's so many bullish catalysts that aren't really having an effect on the market at the moment. And I think it is just a matter of time before this starts to push again. I think the market looks really, really healthy. And even though we've had a very long, painful correction, it has done, I think, what it needed to do. Now, look at this from like a cycle perspective, and we do repeat this quite often. If price was sat at 62K 3 months after the halving, we would not be complaining at all. The only reason we're complaining, or the only reason people are getting bearish, I think, at that stage is because it overshot initially with all of that ETF hype and all of those ETF inflows that came in it to begin with. We did make that new all-time high. So people are therefore thinking, we've topped, we've failed, we've rejected. We're going to be looking at lower. But let's say if the chart had just come up and done this, and we were just chilling around here right now, same level, everyone would just be like, yeah, cool, 4-year cycle's intact. We are right on track for it. Everything is now looking fine. It was just that push that went too fast, too soon, that's taken longer to consolidate. So we've seen much more of a time-based consolidation where the market's just being, I mean, this is the longest range there has ever been on Bitcoin by a very, very, very large margin. And it's a big range as well. We're talking not even talking the extremes, just value area low to value area high is 25%. So there's so much to trade within this range. The market's just not sure where to go from here. It needs to wait for value to catch up with it. And when we're looking at where value is, you're looking at things like your VWAP. So first of all, where's your yearly VWAP, right? It has been supporting price. We had a few deviations below, and now we're maybe looking at some kind of consolidation around that to then start to target higher prices. The other thing we can look at is the VWAP from essentially the day that we started this cycle, which has been holding price up really well. But we're staying within value here. Okay, we had that move outside of value, came back into it, bouncing, holding a few times, and just contained within this value area of this VWAP. The other thing, looking at the move that we had post ETF, we're still within value. We're still trading within value here. if we look at the range as a whole, we're trading right at that VWAP. And then Delirium mentioned something about this yesterday. If we then turn on our second standard deviation, where was it finding support? Down there on those second standard deviations. And then resistance up on that second standard deviation. So it is just a case of like, now the market's just trying to basically allow value to catch up with it. We look at moving averages. Okay, where are the moving averages? We almost had, would that have been a death cross? What MAs are these? 250. Yeah, so we very nearly had that EMA death cross as well. I'm going to remove these from the chart. I'm going to remove those two long positions. So clearly when everyone was getting a little bit bearish, a little bit freaked out, talk about the EMA crossover, the death cross there. Now, of course, we did have that SMA cross. So if we go 200 and 50 SMAs, there was that death cross there. We tested it a couple of times, dropped once again. And now, interestingly enough, price just consolidating below that 200 simple moving average. So we're getting squeezed. We're really just waiting. We're really just waiting for some kind of spark that either pushes through the resistance, which is exactly where we are, starts to take liquidity, starts to stop out short positions. Shorts are pretty comfy right now. Longs are pretty comfy right now. There's not really any need for either of them to be giving up the fight. All right, if you're long from the last low, you're comfy. If you're short from the past high, all right, you're not yet stopped. So this can just keep on going, build that open interest, get an explosive move, whether that's going to be up. If we do see continued strength and we see that the ES manages to hold its support and continue to push higher, or we're looking at this as weakness, which to me would suggest back below 61k, then we're looking at 57, then we're looking at whatever else, and then maybe a little bit lower as well. So yeah, that's basically that. If we will not push until November, would be nice to damage all the bulls with 42k. Yeah, maybe. Dude, your shadow band, I think. What do you mean? I wouldn't have thought so. What makes you think that I'm shadow banned? How many viewers do we have? 43. It's not bad. No results in search. What are you searching, Taurus? I see results in my search. I think we're fine. I think we're fine. Yeah, I need more information. I need more. I don't think there's an issue here. I do not think there's an issue. I think it's just a case that YouTube just sometimes doesn't alert people particularly well. MJ, nice to see you too. Have you been traveling? Yes, I'm in Bali right now. I'm in Bali. It's very, very nice here. Been chilling by the beach today. Had some nice bintangs, coconuts, margaritas. And then just before I started the stream, I was in the pool. So I'm having a good time. Yeah, it's really nice. It's lovely. And I think this is something I've been talking about for a long time. Something that I've really wanted to do for a long time. So it's nice to finally be here. And yeah, just finding that balance between working as much as I can still, but also still seeing the world. So I'm going to be traveling around for at least the next 6 months. A couple of months here in Bali, a few months in Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and then see what happens after that. Maybe Japan, Korea, China afterwards. And then maybe South America. And then maybe somewhere else. And then maybe somewhere else. And then maybe somewhere else. I just keep moving. I love it. And that's the crazy thing. I thoroughly recommend it to anybody who has the opportunity to do this, because this is like, we talk about trading giving freedom, and I think this is the first time that I have ever really felt that what I do is giving me freedom. So I like living in London, having a nice apartment, doing all of these kind of things. Yeah, it's cool, but you're still trapped essentially. You're still in the rat race, right? And why we all get into trading is not just because we want to make money, but we want the freedom to do, like, not to be told what to do all the time or whatever, and just to be able to be free. And that's what I'm doing there. Andy, have some awesome tips in Bali for you. We'll send you a DM. Yeah, sure, send them over. I've got a real, I mean, I'm pretty pleased with myself of how I've been planning my trip out here. I think I'm doing a really good job so far. So I've been staying in Canggu. If anyone knows the area, I've been staying in Canggu for the past week. Been in a few different places. So I basically just spent the first week just hopping around, getting a feel for the place, spending a few days in each place. Some of them I have the ability to have like my full work setup, which is what I've got now. I'm in a very cool place right now. Give a little shout out. This is the place. It's called Tribal. So it's a co-working space. So everybody here is here to work. And basically they have like a hostel. So if you want to be real cheap, or if you're traveling on a budget, they have a hostel. I stayed in the hostel for 2 days, the hostel side of the building, just because they had no availability in the private section. So I stayed in the hostel for 2 days. It was $12. $12 a night. $12. And then I'm here in the private room, and it's a really, really nice room. Like, I've got a nice view of the pool. We've got the restaurant. I've got everything's perfect here. Got a nice desk set up to be using. And even this is like $30 a night. It's so dirt cheap. I've met like so many great people over here already. Then on Thursday, I'm going to Uluwatu. So I'm going to Uluwatu, and I've got a villa. I've got a villa on the top of the cliffs. So I've had my meet people, go to like the places that are affordable, and I'm doing hostels so I can meet people. And then I'm like, right, okay, I want my space. So I'm going to do a few days on a real nice villa. And I'm going to give you guys the tour of the villa. It's sick. We have an ice bath in the fucking villa, a pool in the villa, like views over Uluwatu, the beach that's famous from some movie. It's amazing. Then after that, I'm going to go to the Gili Islands, going to go to Lombok, which is a very different vibe again altogether. Like, no motorized vehicles. I'm going to do my scuba diving license over there. Then I'm going to go to Ubud, spend a few days in Ubud, and then see where I like most, and then settle down maybe in another villa for like a few weeks, and just kind of live from somewhere. So travel for the first month, and then second month live somewhere. That's the plan, but we'll see how it goes. What I'm also going to be doing, I've got a calendar, so me and the boys, Cake, HP, have been basically just having a discussion, like how to, because for me it's still a little bit like, I don't quite know, like it depends, like, do I know how good the internet's going to be when I get to anywhere? I'm not quite sure. I'm not trading quite as much. I'm doing a bit more swing trading, and then maybe an hour or two a day, just seeing if I can grab the odd scalp on the NQ. But what I'm going to make sure I do is just get together a really good schedule, so that it makes it much clearer for everyone when I'm going to be around, where I'm going to be, if there's like high probability that I'm going to be able to stream on that day, or if it's like I'm going to be offline because I'm on a boat going to somewhere, because I'm thinking of going to see the Komodo dragons as well, go to Komodo Island, which would be sick. But that will mean that I'm on a boat for a couple of days with like no phone signal. But I'll do those things over the weekend anyway, so it's cool, it's chill. But yeah, we're going to set up a calendar, and you'll have a much better understanding of where I'm going to be and everything. Sorry if this is really boring for everyone, but I'm just quite excited to be here. I love it. So I'm in a good mood. Like, for the last few months, you've probably seen me streaming, and I'm like, oh, this market's so boring. I'm so bored. I don't really want to be doing this. But now I'm like, yeah. I'm back. I'm feeling good. I love it. Komodo is a must-see. Yeah, the only thing that's like, it's going to be 4 days off the grid, essentially, if I do Komodo. 4 days off grid. So, yeah. Anyway, we've had the New York Open. We're having some movement. That short would have worked out quite well, right? That short really would have worked out quite well. It never took the high. You wouldn't have got stopped. And you would have been chilling in some tasty profit right now, because essentially what you're looking for, the invalidation for this. Did anyone go short here? I know Kate closed the long. I know I was talking about the short position being from here, but this is still within tolerance. This is fine. This was never invalidated. It's just I didn't quite know at the time that we were going into the open. Isn't this weird? So NQ's dumping, Bitcoin's pumping, and Kate, were you saying that ES is? Oh no, ES is dumping. ES is doing a similar kind of thing. Interesting. I'm going to turn the AC back on. Just hold on. I turned it off because I literally just, like I said, I literally just got in from the pool, and I had my AC on like 19 degrees, and it was freezing in here when I came in. So I'm just going to turn it on. And it's going to get freezing again in here in a minute. Let's go 21 degrees. Yeah. All right, that low's just been taken. Could that be scalpy long? Because we've put in a nice low on the day already. I'm going to go 30-second time frame. And I might... Ooh, have I gone a little bit... Is everything here? Oh, right, yes, because I disappeared. Buffering. Are we fine? I think we're fine now. Yeah, I can see the stream looks a little bit better now. That was weird. I'm going to open up Top Step. I don't know if you'll be able to see this. Since I've arrived in Bali, I have a 100% win rate. I haven't been trading very much. But look. I'm just gonna show up on screen. Ooh. Hey. It cancels that out. Anyway, I'll screenshot it. It is a 100% win rate since I've arrived in Bali. I've taken 9 trades.
All right. So I'm on my webcam. I fucking look. So this cable, I don't know if you can see it. Half of the cable's here, and then half of the cable is still in the microphone. It's just broke. It's just completely snapped off, and it like sparked and knocked everything out. So yeah, basically wrecked. There's the other bit of it. There's the other part. So it knocked out my other webcam. So I need to fix that. Now I'm just on my laptop webcam and I'm just talking through the laptop mic. But I think I'm probably going to call it there because I don't know if there's some power issue going on or if I've just shorted something out, and I don't want to kill my laptop as well because that would be a disaster. So I'm going to call it now. I'm going to make sure everything's okay. And I'll be back tomorrow. And on that note, the market's dumping because I've kind of wrecked myself. So yeah, thank you everybody for joining. I'll be back tomorrow. I'll be live again tomorrow, but I just need to make sure I'm not like destroying anything. So have a great evening or afternoon or whatever time it is there. And consumer confidence lower, bullish. Have a good one, Luke. So this is consumer confidence, right? Trade this sensibly. You could probably look to fade this move, but let's see how it goes. And yeah, I'll see you guys in a little bit because clearly there was some lag and stuff going on as well. All right.